Hey guys, this is Fridolin from Tree Service Leads Unlimited. And in this video, I want to break down backlinks in a very simple and easy to understand way for you. What they are, why they're crucial for ranking on Google, and also how you can get them. And I want to cover 3 points specifically. Number one, what is even a backlink? What is that? Maybe you've heard that term before, and maybe you haven't. I'm going to break it down in a very simple and easy way. You don't have to be tech savvy at all in order to be able to understand it. And number two is I'm going to show you the difference between a good and a bad backlink. And if you know that difference, you probably know more than 90% of people that call themselves SEO experts but don't really know what they're doing. They might be doing on-page SEO, but they don't do any link building. And if they don't do any link building, like unless you're in a very non-competitive area, you're never going to rank top 5. And number 3, I'm going to show you how to get the right backlinks for your site so you can start ranking better on Google, getting into the top 3, and get more leads organically for your tree service business. So let's get started. Okay, so what's a backlink? Let's look at Google's explanation here. A backlink is a link on a page from another site that links to a page on your site. It links back to your site. Now, what does that look like in action? Let's say if we are on this side here and we click on this little text here that says colors. We also refer to this text that makes up the link anchor text. So this link is the word colors, and the link itself is also called hyperlink, then links to this site. Now, in this case, it's a broken link because it links to a page that doesn't exist anymore. So this is something they should fix. Here's another example. We read this blog post, and now we come down here and we read, and somewhere here is a link, and that is also a backlink. And you always see that in the bottom left of your screen, where you can see the URL that the link points to. And if we click on this backlink, click on this link there, then we come to this page, to this blog post from Davey. So those are 2 live examples. I think it's pretty easy to understand once someone shows it this visually. So now that we know what a backlink is, what makes a good and what makes a bad backlink. And this right here is an example of a really good backlink. Now, why is that? Because if we look at first 2 factors, this site right here that this link lives on basically is NPR News. That website, nprnews.org, has 439,000 visitors a month and has a domain rating of 82. That is very, very high. Most sites like that I work with have a domain rating between 0 and 10 when we start working together. Our own site has a domain rating of 50, and this is an exponential scale. So to get from a 50 to an 82 requires much more effort, way more effort exponentially than getting from a 0 to a 50. So, and obviously this site has tons and tons of traffic. So it's a very authoritative site. And that firstly makes the link valuable, but then also how naturally it occurs. And if you think about, if I were to read this blog post and I stumble across this right here, would I find this strange? Like, does this seem like something artificially injected, this link here, or does it seem like it's a natural mention of this other website? And it totally is, because they're talking about this topic of biochar in this blog post. And then here, there's also a surprising amount of wood available in cities. He said a larger tree care company opened a biochar facility in Chicago earlier this year. Seems very natural. And then you click on here and you come to a blog post by Davey where they talk about this exact biochar project. And this is also the right way to do it. You want to link to a linkable asset, and a linkable asset is usually a blog post, anything that is usually informational and educational in nature. On the opposite side, if you link to your commercial pages or to your homepage from another website, then usually it doesn't seem as natural. For example, let's say this site right here said a large tree care company, and they made this the anchor text, which is the text that makes up the link. this would be the link, then it wouldn't seem as natural, right? And Google also recognizes this, and especially if you overdo it with this type of what we call exact match anchors. In this case, not necessarily an exact match, but it's a more keyword-rich anchor, because tree care company, they would want to rank for this keyword tree care company, right? So then it's a more keyword-rich anchor text, the text that makes up the anchor. But it's pretty smart what they did here. Google also recognizes if in the vicinity of the link itself there are keywords, so that still helps. So they really know what they're doing here. Really great link placement. I'm really impressed by this. Now let's look at what not to do. If we look at this page, you can straight away see this doesn't seem like a real website even. And then if we look at the traffic, this site has 6 visitors a month. It has a domain rating of 10. So straight away we see it's like a much weaker site that instantaneously makes the link much less valuable. And now we see here we have all these, like, just look at this content. It's just random garbage. This is basically this very much looks like a public blog network. I'm not going to get too much into what that is, but it's basically a network of websites that are used to build links artificially, and it's basically trying to trick Google's algorithms to rank higher on Google. And while it does work to some extent, it's very, very risky, and especially if you don't know what you're doing, it's even more risky. Like this link placement here, I'm not going to hover over it here. San Diego tree trimming, removals, and care. I'll see tree service. Okay, might as well check it out. If I click on here, then I come back to this company's website, and they certainly didn't do this intentionally. Maybe they had an SEO provider that didn't know what they were doing, or they were just purchasing cheap links. And this is the outcome of that. Like, think about, do you want to be affiliated with something like this? And this is what most SEO providers unfortunately do. They get cheap backlinks like this. Now, what Davey is doing here, very, very high level. Now, this is somewhere in between another link placement here. This is what I would say also a good placement, definitely. And for the same company, and we look at 4,100 visitors, 69 domain rating, pretty strong site, pretty strong. Now we look at, and by the way, this is just a random blog post, Get Swollen the Brain with these 19 plus random fascinating facts. Now, does this website talk a lot about tree service or landscaping related things? We would have to investigate that, but even if not, it's a strong and authoritative site. So just because of that, the link is valuable. I would have to analyze the whole site further to really determine the actual value of this particular link, but I would say this is a good link placement. And the reason I'm saying that is because of the way that it was built. And here, the number 15 random fascinating fact here is there's a species of tree with a surreal, magically colorful exterior, the rainbow eucalyptus. And then from here, they link, if I click on colors, this is the anchor text again. I would say this is definitely sort of natural. I wouldn't say this is unnatural, and especially because if we look at the bottom left of the screen, it's linking to a blog post of this company. Unfortunately, though, it's a broken link. So so you see this page doesn't exist anymore, or they might have to do a redirect to direct this link to the new URL. But in any case, like apart from that, the link placement itself, I would say that's a good one. As I said, not as high level or as natural as this one from Davey, but certainly not like this. You don't want to have stuff like this. So I hope this helps you understand kind of what makes a good and what makes a bad backlink. Now, lastly, let me briefly touch on how to get the right type of links for your site. Essentially, if you see what Davey is doing here, they are essentially doing digital PR. And that's also kind of how you have to look at it. You have to really put in the effort and create valuable content and promote your brand and say, okay, you don't necessarily have to have news like this. You might just do a blog post on your site that is about when is the best time to trim trees in insert city that you're in. and there's probably nobody else in your city that has done a blog post on that based on your specific locality. And even if they have, there might be a new angle that you can bring to that. So you could create a new valuable piece of content, and then you go out there and try to acquire links to that. You reach out to webmasters, to people that that own websites, maybe not as big as this one right here, because if you were to acquire a link like this, you might this particular one might even be in the thousands, certainly like $500 and upwards. You usually have to pay some money on top of so the way that it usually works is you write a blog post for this website yourself. They publish it under a name of one of their authors, or under your name, in which case it is a legitimate guest post. But these days it's more like people do more sort of ghost posting, is what we call it, where you write a piece of content for them, human written, not like with ChatGPT, an actually valuable piece of content that you wrote. Or if you hire someone like us, that we actually wrote, a human on our team wrote it, and it's actually a good, decent article that someone would actually be interested in reading. And then somewhere in the content, there's a in-content link. You want to have an in-content link like this one right here. And so then that's the backlink. And honestly, this link right here, I would argue is so strong that if you're in a not too competitive area, just one link like this might even help you outrank everybody else. 5 to 10 links like this, and you're in a mid-level competition area, I would say a pretty high likelihood that you would become number one. Now, if you're in a pretty competitive area, in a big metropolitan area, then again, like maybe 10 to 30 of these types of links, because this one is really strong. But even if it's not that strong, it's really also just about doing this on an ongoing basis, doing it the right way, and especially not over-optimizing with the anchor text, let's say, because let's say they used the anchor text tree care company and they did that 10 times. Then to Google, that looks pretty odd. One thing that Google's algorithms are really good at detecting are links schemes. Honestly, everybody's buying links these days. But if you're doing it so that it's obvious to Google, then you're gonna get at least an algorithmic penalty probably. That's also why SEO is really challenging, because either you gotta create very, very high value content and promote that and acquire links that way, or even if you buy links, you still gotta create content that is worth linking to, and then you just pay for the links, but the links still are built in a natural fashion to where, whether it's a human or whether it's the algorithms from Google, they can tell the difference between, does this occur naturally, or is this an artificial placement? They can really tell the difference, and that's how you rank your site. So I hope this is helpful. Besides guests and ghost posting, there are many, many more ways of building links. I'm certainly going to provide more guidance on that in the future, but that is really the most common way to build links these days, is through guests and ghost posting. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you learned something from it. If anything, I hope you understand what a backlink is, and that if you hire someone to do SEO for your website, you should ask them about what the link building strategy is, and where they get their backlinks from, what's the way that they build it, and if they can show you any links that they built for other clients. And then you can tell if it's a crappy links like I showed you earlier, or if it's high quality links, and that way you can tell if you're going to get results from what they're doing. And if you don't want to deal with any of this yourself, then feel free to reach out to us. You can head over to our website, treeserviceleadsunlimited.com, and book a call with me. Otherwise, again, thanks for watching. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one.